Elohim fights for you. And Joshua captured all these kings in their land at one time, because the Lord Elohim of Israel fought for Israel. Understanding the war that led Israel to take possession of the land of Canaan is not an easy matter. Just as Elohim never intended for sin to exist, neither did he intend for war to exist. So why did so many people die? Can that war be considered holy? To understand this problem, we must delve into the biblical concept of war and the moral values at stake at that critical moment in history. A matter of iniquity, a matter of justice, the biblical concept of war, destroyed by their own choice. Seek peace, a matter of iniquity. In the fourth generation, your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. Archaeology has revealed that Canaan's religion was exactly what the Bible says: sorcery, divination, communication with the dead, spiritism, and child sacrifice. To this must be added the rite of sacred prostitution, which had very little to do with sacredness, practiced by both priests and priestesses. Although these practices were already common in Abraham's time, Elohim gave them more than 400 years to rectify their behavior. Finally, these aberrant rites, which lowered people's morality and fostered all kinds of vices, had to be put to an end. The extermination of the Canaanites would prevent, at least for a time, the moral degradation of humanity. A matter of justice. Elohim is a righteous judge. Elohim who displays his wrath every day. If he does not relent, he will sharpen his sword, he will bend and string his bow. Love and justice are the foundation of Elohim's character. This makes him a just and impartial judge, who postpones punishment so that the sinner may be converted, but who will not tolerate evil forever. The war to conquer Canaan was not waged for imperialist reasons, but by divine order to carry out the punishment that its wicked inhabitants deserve. Elohim's desire was to establish a just government in that territory, which would be an example to all nations, motivating them to elevate their moral concepts and thus achieve a state of peace and justice worldwide. As a warrior and judge, Elohim is committed to implementing, stabilizing, and maintaining the rule of law, which is a reflection of his character. The biblical concept of war. But be assured today that the Lord your Elohim is the one who goes across ahead of you like a devouring fire. He will destroy them, he will subdue them before you, and you will drive them out and annihilate them quickly, as the Lord has promised you. Biblically, wars were to be limited to specific situations and were defined by Elohim himself. These are the rules that govern wars authorized by Elohim. A professional army was not allowed. The soldiers were not paid and sometimes could not even take loot. Warfare was only permitted for the conquest of or defense of the promised land at that particular historical moment. They were led by prophets inspired by Elohim, such as Moses or Joshua. Spiritual preparation was required before the battle. Any Israelite who did not comply with the rules of war was treated as an enemy. On many occasions, Elohim intervened directly in the battle. Destroyed by their own choice. So Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes, together with all their kings. He left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the Elohim of Israel, had commanded. The entire territory of Canaan was declared anathema, that is, dedicated to destruction. Every living thing was to die. However, there were exceptions. Those destined for destruction obeyed Elohim could live, like Rahab. Israelites who disobeyed Elohim were to be put to death, like Achan. Before Elohim, Canaanites and Israelites were viewed equally. impartially. The difference was that some chose to persist in their rebellion against Elohim, while others chose to obey him. Now the decision is still ours. When Yeshua comes, we will be saved or destroyed by our own choice. Seek peace. I will make peace your governor and well-being your ruler. Yeshua is called the Prince of Peace. He came to bring peace, and he will reign in peace. But until his kingdom of peace becomes a reality, we remain in a territory at war, immersed in the cosmic conflict between Elohim, between good and evil. When the Syrian army besieged Dothan to capture the prophet Elisha, he didn't ask Elohim to have the heavenly army surrounding him destroy the Syrians. Instead, he asked to lead the blinded Syrian army to Samaria so that once there, he could bring peace between the two warring nations. This is the example Yeshua taught us to always seek peace in conflict, to overcome evil with good. The utter destruction of the people of Jericho was but a fulfillment of the commands previously given through Moses concerning the inhabitants of Canaan. To many, these commands seem to be contrary to the spirit of love and mercy enjoined in other portions of the Bible, but they were in truth the dictates of infinite wisdom and goodness. Elohim was about to establish Israel in Canaan, to develop among them a nation and the government that should be a manifestation of his kingdom upon the earth. They were not only to be inheritors of the true religion, but to disseminate its principles throughout the world. The Canaanites had abandoned themselves to the foulest and most debasing hedonism, and it was necessary that the land should be cleared of what would so surely prevent the fulfillment of Elohim's creation's purposes.